That's almost 10 PSI there. Oh.
Okay, you gotta time your shit. Yeah, you almost do.
If you guys recall in our previous episode, I had butchered the Fender Roll on the back here. We had a rather large dent and we called in Dent Hero, a local mobile shop here, and the guys came and worked their magic. They got rid of the dent 100%, which is nice, and it was right here. However, they tried everything they could to pull this lip out and make it perfect, but the where it is, and because there's a seam or a pinch weld right here, it just isn't perfect. But it is so much better than what it was. And now it just doesn't have like this massive eye drawing attention like dent here. So I think at this point, I could try to like roll this again a little bit more, but I think I'm just gonna leave it. Now, as for interior mods, I have restrained myself. I am actually keeping the stock steering wheel. I love the Evo 9 steering wheels. They're, you know, comfortable from an ergonomic standpoint, and they look really good. The only thing that we're gonna be replacing is this JDM factory head unit. It does say Mitsubishi Electric. This is aftermarket, but we are gonna be replacing this because everything is in Japanese. I felt this unit was a little loose, and sure enough, there is only one screw holding this in. Man, there's been some questionable work on this car, DP.
The JDMs were slacking on
They
you.
were. Look, there's a screw missing up here for our carbon fiber trim, so I'm just gonna go like this. What it looks like somebody did is, they were missing all of the 4 screws, so they just took one of these, removed it from here, put it in here, and then put this unit in. Now let's see the hackery that is behind here. Oh boy, let's have a look here. Oh, this is my favorite. The ground running to the side of the face, or the plate there. And back here, the wiring, oh man. Oh boy, look at this. This is not good, but
oh, there's some Japanese writing on there, PT.
oh, look at this on the tape. Yes.
So good.
Yes, but like look at this, oh my God. Where does this go? This might be to like a backup camera of sorts. Like, I don't even know. Well, this certainly was a rat's nest. Look at this thing. I suspect there was some other units in here. You can see this whole assembly here plugged into something, not sure what. Could have been one of those toll things. Could have been an aftermarket gauge, I don't know. Thankfully though, the Metra harness adapter here for the radio does plug in, so I purchased this off of Amazon, and it is gonna work in the JDM car, which is good. DP, check out how much cleaner this is.
It is nice.
Oh, this is what you want your radio install to look like, everybody. I solved the mystery of where the screws went. They were on the sides here. That mounted it to the radio, so somebody had just gotten lazy and didn't get extra screws and decided to do that. Anyways, all the screws are in, it looks proper, and this is the Enon AU13 model. It's quad core, got 2 gigabytes of RAM, basically your latest and greatest. One of the other reasons I chose this head unit is because it has an analog volume knob, which I am a big fan of. And I also love the fact that it has a USB port and a USB-C port. So if you want to charge your phone, you can plug it right off of here, which is nice. This also has Apple CarPlay, which is a must for me because I am an iPhone user. If you know us, we don't want to waste our tuner's time or dyno time or our time. So before we go to the dyno, every time we like to do a boost leak test, and you can see I have the adapters set up here that go onto the intake. Ideally what you want to do usually is hook this up directly to the turbo, but there's just too much to remove. So I've done this, and now what we're going to do is basically pressurize the system here and then listen for leaks. And you can see it's actually holding, it's almost 10 PSI there. Oh, I can hear it. It's starting to leak somewhere now. Yeah, it's this area here.
Yeah.
So this is part of the problem where really this would never see any boost pressure because this is an intake. So setting it up like this isn't ideal, but you can see it sounds like it's holding well for the most part, which is good. Tighten that hose clamp down a little bit more and it's sealing better. Now we can really get a lot more pressure into here. That's basically 15 PSI. And this one hose right here is like an emissions hose running from the intake. So it is up into here. So I hear it leaking there, but again, that is not meant for boost pressure per se. So everything else though, the couplers and everything around here, like there's no sound. So I think we've got ourselves a proper boost leak-free system here. And we have arrived at Dyno Tune Racing, and Reza is gonna be doing the tuning here. However, he told me, and this is an oversight on my part, that I did not put in a proper boost controller. So this is like your standard 3-port boost controller that he's gonna wire in here, which is going to give us adequate boost control. Otherwise, we would have just been on that 14 PSI spring, and that's not what we want. So we're gonna get this installed, and then we're gonna get this loaded onto here, and we're gonna start doing some pulls. I am very excited. And after about 5 or 6 pulls, we have finished here. And I'm gonna preface this by saying this is a heartbreaker dyno, yes?
Yep.
It doesn't exactly make the big power figures that everybody wants, but you can see we started off making a whopping 183 wheel horsepower, and you said the car was knocking a little bit, right?
Knocking, had a JDM timing map on it. AFRs were still pig rich, and wastegate pressure, which was about 19 PSI.
19, so 19 PSI made 183, and then you worked your magic gate, and we're up to 295 and 301 foot-pounds. So that's actually, you know, not a bad number at all. I'm sure some of you were thinking we're gonna make like 330, 340, but
Nope.
You said the automatic
Transmission, which will absorb about 20% horsepower,
20%.
20 to 25% through the torque converter.
Wow. Yeah, that is wild. So if this was a manual car, we'd probably be up in what like
High 300s.
Yeah, like
for the turbo it has on it, MHI 18K at 28 PSI. We should be high 300s to 400 at the wheel.
Yeah. So it's crazy how much that's reduced it, but everything looks good. The car performed well, and I mean, at this point, we got to go drive this thing. And we've got a last-minute delivery via the old Evo Wagon here, everybody. A box that contains something that we desperately need right here. My good old buddy Marco from Magnus Motorsports saw a previous episode where I was complaining about the valve cover on this car, and he said, I've got you covered with one of their billet aluminum valve covers. Look at this thing. It is a work of art, and I think it is going to really level up this engine bay. I don't think this valve cover has either ever been off or it's just been a very, very long time, because I don't remember the last time I could not just like simply pull the valve cover off. Wow, like it is on there in a real way. It's moving the whole motor, DP.
Yeah.
So whoever thought this would actually be a real problem? I am at a point now where like I can't really get anything in between here. You know, you could try to pry here, but I don't want to push on the belt. You can see it just, I'm worried I'm gonna wreck the belt potentially. So at this point, I'm either gonna tear off this aluminum tube here because I can get good leverage along here and see if I can, oh yeah, look at that. That just bent instantly. So that's,
tube. Oh boy.
oh, look at
Oh,
this. Man, this is crazy. At this point, the finish of the valve cover is done.
oh, it moved, I think. Yeah,
Oh.
there you go.
There you go. There's a pro tip right there. Corner. There's that corner. All right. Man. The silicone. It's like, there's a ton of, there it is, silicone. You'll see in a second when I take this off. So, man, it's not exactly like mint. It doesn't look like the oil change intervals were, you know, done super frequently, but it's not like all gummed up. You can see that doesn't look bad per se.
No, that looks clean to me.
So yeah, that's not a bad deal. Having a closer look at this valve cover here, it is incredible the machine work that goes into something like this, you know, especially along here. Like a machine, a CNC has cut this to this precise setup here, even on the outer edges here. Like that is stunning and beautiful. We do have a bit of assembly here. You can see it does have a baffle that is removable in case we do want to powder coat this or anodize it in the future. And we have this little piece to add on to here onto the front side. And then we can throw this on. Got it all together now, and you will notice I am using some -6AN fittings here, adapters from -10. Normally you'd run a catch can setup. This is more of a race product. However, I am trying to reuse the OEM like PCV valve right here and the breather tube from over here. So all I'm gonna do is just hook it up to these right there, and it'll be like an OEM setup. And for those of you wondering, yes, I am actually not replacing the gasket here. I have to order a new one. So once I get that in, I will do that. We are almost at the finish line with this install here. And Magnus does include these R35 GTR coils that I got from them with these beautiful little billet sleeves that go over, and you can see they just drop in as such. Oh, it just feels so nice. Wow, this is my idea of a valve cover. Really what I love about this is the fact that it's not like huge bling logo that says Magnus on it. It's just got the Magnus little oil cap right here, and the rest is like super clean. Marco did tell me that he's going to do a sale on these. So if you guys want or looking for one of these, certainly jump onto magnusmotorsports.com and check it out there. And here we are, DP. I've had a few days to drive this car, and let me tell you, it is awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, like having an automatic car as a daily.
Yeah.
I know people hate the automatic, but from a right-hand drive perspective, it is so much nicer than if I had to shift gears, because it just takes that like unfamiliarness away, because right now I just concentrate on essentially driving. And this is a great example where I don't love the automatic. It is in third gear right now, and you can see it's lugging a little bit, but if you throw it into manual mode, now it holds the gear, and look at, now we can just like drive up here and listen to the sound it makes, DP. But see, so that's the thing, this thing is tuned when you get into like partial throttle.
Yeah.
It's bleeding off a ton of boost.
Okay.
And you can kind of hear it there. It just kind of just
it's a cool soundtrack.
Yeah.
A lot of turbo guys want turbo cars for that very reason. They want the cool noises, right?
You are not wrong. It does make a ton of noises, all the right noises. It has a bunch of flutter and surge, and I think that is just because the blow-off valve is a little bit too tight. So we need to change the spring out on that bad boy.
Okay.
Down to a softer spring so it doesn't hold as much boost pressure, let's say at like that, 10 PSI or whatever, where it's not partially opening up a little bit on partial throttle. So,
okay.
But look at driving it in manual mode, if I had paddle shifters, man, I would really like this car. Yeah, that guy cut that corner real nice.
Certainly did.
It's par for the course. So Yeah, man, but...
So are there paddle shifters available for this car?
I don't know. Great question. Like, the automatics are rare, man.
Yeah.
They really are, and in doing so, I don't think there's a lot of potential out there. So,
but using the stick too, like
fine,
you push
yeah,
forward
you
or
can see
backward,
it's totally good. Like, look at
like
that.
a sequential
it shifts
gearbox.
nice, exactly. So, all right, let's give you guys a rip. I have actually not floored this car yet, just because I wanted to have that like first impression right now. So let's see how this goes. Oh man, the gear is long.
That is a long gear.
Holy smokes.
It sounds great though.
It does sound great.
That exhaust system is nice.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. It's it feels about like that 300.
Yeah, it does. I would say
wheel horsepower. Truthfully, DP, I'm at the point where I'm like,
you want it to be quieter?
No, I think this does need a manual swap. If I was to set this car up again,
you were just talking about how good the automatic is, PT. I'm confused. Oh, we didn't like that.
No, because I hit rev limiter.
Oh, okay.
Oh man,
it's pretty quick, man, and I'm blown away how quiet it is. Like it's.
Yes.
It sounds sporty, but it's not boomy. There's no drone. It's not too loud at all. It's like as a daily drivable fun car. That's pretty
exactly.
Pretty
yeah. If you just like
that's solid.
Man.
Yeah, it's solid, man. It's quick. It's not like pin you in your seat.
No, no,
Supra
exactly.
fast, but it's quick. It feels quick.
It really is, and. Like you can see this, so first gear is a great example, right? Where it just like...
Okay, you gotta time your shifts.
Yes, you almost do. It's kind of crazy just how power robbing the automatic is, and getting back to that, that's why I'm like, man, I love this car. Like as a driver, it is really good. The suspension, the NX suspension, like they got this thing right. It is fantastic. It rides
phenomenal.
It rides so well. This car cruises really nicely. It's got good space, and it just needs a proper gearbox.
Yeah,
I feel like as from a performance standpoint.
From a performance standpoint, but from a daily driver standpoint, do you want to be banging gears if you're commuting in this car? That's the question.
Nah, maybe. I just, you know what, if maybe this would be like one of those projects where you'd need to put like a DCT behind it, like a front wheel drive gearbox, but those are pipe dreams, I feel like. Yeah. So
I mean, the easy options are this or
it's got to be. It's just got to be. It's got to be a 6-speed swap, and I would left-hand drive convert this car because I talked about not going down that road, but now driving it and really enjoying it. It is really a very, very nice, fun car to drive.
It's a cool car, man. It's a super cool car.
So I'm certainly digging it from that aspect. It just the gearbox certainly takes away from the fun factor.
There's a lot of goodness here.
Exactly.
I don't know what the right call is.
See there, I got the shift right.
Feels like there's some slight slip.
It does feel like there's a bit of slip. Yeah, it's like the gearbox might not be handling.
I feel like it's a little unhappy.
Yeah. You can see, you can kind of hear it in the exhaust now.
You can hear the tone changing.
Yeah, I smell.
That might be the cows.
Torque converter. Yeah, that might be the cows, but cows don't smell like torque converter oil.
I feel like you might be at the limit of it already, eh?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy if that's the case.
Well, you never know, man. Like it is a pretty big turbo, so
it is a big turbo.
It's a lot of boost, like 25 psi or whatever it is.
It's loading a lot of torque up. Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little series on the Evo 9 wagon, and as I said, I really do love this vehicle. From a looks perspective, it is pretty much perfect for me. A set of wheels, those headlights, lowering. However, after that test drive, I have been now kind of thinking even more about it, man. I feel like I need to do a manual swap on this thing and a left-hand drive conversion. So certainly post in the comments, let me know what you guys think. Is that something you'd like to see, or am I just being crazy? Because that is a monumental task. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one.